Hi there, welcome to episode 5 of Saving the Republic. Here we have Nate Dunning, Skylar Walksman, and Kelly Nider. Today we're going to be talking about various states reopening and the Biden sexual assault claim. Here's episode 5. So, as y'all know, the great state of Texas is reopening May 1st, today, or yesterday, sorry. What do you guys think about that and compared to other states?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm glad. Oh, sorry.
you can go ahead.
I'm glad we started opening. I think it's great. I wish we could open faster, but it's great. I've already seen a bunch of restaurants open, and um, I think it's good to get people going again, and we can finally get the economy starting to open. It's really, in my opinion, very incremental. I think we could I think we could do a lot more, but I think it's a great start. So I'm excited that people can finally start to make money again.
Yeah, I think it's pretty great. I think Governor Abbott has done a great job in outlining his plan in a way that can allow them to kind of gauge if it is fully safe before we jump in with 2 feet. We're kind of just dipping our toes in the water to make sure everything's good before we fully commit everything back to normal.
Yeah, I
I
like
think
that
we
it's
should
a
have.
county to county. Oh, I'm sorry. I like that it's a county to county basis. What were you going to say, Kelly? Sorry about that.
I was just gonna say, like, I think we should have opened more, and I think that there's some things like nail salons, hair salons, those aren't open yet, and I don't understand. Like, those are like some of the cleanest businesses there are. They have to keep it so sanitized, so I don't understand why we haven't opened that yet. Like, I have to drive to Oklahoma if I want to get my nails done. Like, I mean, that's not a big issue, but I don't know. I just think that 25% isn't enough. Like, I'm glad that they've done something, but I just really feel like they haven't done enough.
I personally take issue with going to Oklahoma for anything. So,
Yeah, let's just avoid that state all
Yeah,
around.
it's not ideal, but
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't. I think that they just did it so that we don't look like we just don't care anymore. I think
mhm.
so that on a national level, yeah, Texas is opening, but they still, they still care. I give it probably about a week or two, and
mhm.
most things are going to be up to 75%. The end of the month, if we're not fully operational, there must have something must have happened. I highly doubt that June 1st gets here and we're still not operational. I personally am a server at the great restaurant called Chili's, and I went back off of furlough yesterday, and we went up to 50% occupancy. And the one that I work at is in Denton County, and people were showing up like excited to be in a restaurant again. Nobody there was like fearful of their lives. To go was slammed. The floor. I don't think we ever reached 50% occupancy, but it was up there. I mean, it was, and I
People
mean, it
want
was
that
just
chicky chicky blue.
yeah, the chicky chicky. That's the worst item on the
Wait,
Chili's menu.
you are
Someday we
allowed
gotta
to
talk about
open 50?
Chili's.
You are able to open up to 50%?
Yeah, because it's a county to county basis. I think 50 is the max set by Abbott, and each county gets to decide up to 50. I don't know. I haven't read into the technicalities. All I know is that my boss said we're in Denton County, so we're going to open up to 50%,
I
and we
think
did.
we need to call
So
the
maybe
authorities
I
on
don't
you.
know. Yeah, do it.
I
Do
think.
it. Honestly, I don't know. I'm so over all this coronavirus. We still have to talk about it because it's happening and it's kind of unavoidable. But I'd be glad to just never mention it again for several months until it's time to tell my kids about it.
Yeah, but honestly, this is gonna be the only thing to talk about for the next like month. So,
Yeah, I know.
unfortunately.
I'm so burned out on it.
But yeah, there were I think last night there were businesses and some bars in Fort Worth that were planning to open up. I think ultimately only one actually did, and from what I heard, it actually went pretty smoothly. And I think the Fort Worth police were pretty okay with it. So that's good to see. And it was
Yeah, I feel
really a
bad.
bold move by them. Yeah.
I feel bad for police officers because they're put in a situation where they are humans and they want to enforce the Constitution, but they have to do what they're told. So especially in these other states, the protests and all these things. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some cops that shouldn't be cops and that don't have human souls. but the most. I mean, there are. I mean, it's just the reality.
They literally
But that's
don't have
not
a soul.
that's not the majority. I mean, I love cops. I have great respect for cops. Don't be trying to come at me saying I I highly respect cops. But I'd hate to be one put in that situation where I agree with the person that I have a altercation with, but I have to do what I'm told. Like in Dallas County, Kelly mentioned the salons. One salon opened in downtown Dallas I saw today, and the police all showed up at the door. Like, you got to close it. And the salon, they're saying they're not going to do it because of the Constitution. They don't have to, but the police have to do what they're told, and it just becomes this.
This
big
sounds
giant
like the
thing.
opening of Waco.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a small Waco. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that. I stay far away from Wacko at all times.
I'm going to Waco tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely
I am
not.
currently in Waco. It's a great.
Yeah, I feel
great
bad
place.
for you.
It's actually great. We yeah, nobody ever thinks about
Got a lot of biker gangs.
Anyways. Oh yeah, so Waco's had its share of incidences. So,
Hey, Waco's nice though. You ever gone sailgating?
No, I haven't.
Bruh.
No, I'm a proud Red Raider. I don't. I'm not a Baylor Bear fan. So.
Oof.
Yikes.
Hey. I will say the difference is Baylor Law School has the highest bar passage rate as of the last estimate, and Texas Tech was the lowest. So
I don't know. We're about
I don't know about
quantity,
all that,
not quality. So. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I said bar
I
passage
second
rate. That is quantity.
Oh, well, I figured we'd probably get more people in to the law school to begin with. I don't know.
So what do y'all think of all the other states that haven't closed down yet? I'm sorry, that haven't opened yet. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a massive headache to the listeners, just a warning.
I think that, like, in some situations, like big cities, it does make sense for them to not open as fast, but the majority of places, I think, should already be opening up. I think that the virus wasn't near as bad as what we had projected initially, and so I don't quite understand why people are still, like, scared to open up their state. I just really feel like it got blown out of proportion to how it really affected us. And I think that we're honestly, like, we're letting the government do too much, and they're kind of overreaching at this point.
I think what's going on is when COVID first started, we didn't have data because you can't trust China. So we didn't know how serious this is, how dangerous it is, and we didn't want to find out the hard way. So at that time, we were all like, yeah, let's stay at home, let's keep it safe. And now that the data is coming out, we're like, okay, now we know. Now we know, okay, the death rate's 0.5% according to not bastions of conservatism, according to like LA County and like all these liberal hubs are saying their death rates are like 0.5%, 0.7%, and that's including the fact that most of those people that are passing away are old, which I mean is still we love our old people, our grandparents and our parents and all that. I'm just saying, the majority of us don't need to be locked up against our will. It's not necessary. So now that we have the data, it's like, okay, let's get out. And the other thing is we need to respect what we told people was going to happen. Everybody's shocked that Texas is reopening. They said back in March, April 30th, it's going to expire. We've known about this for weeks. It's just kind of like we forgot because we've gotten caught up in other states. It's like, no. Texas is sticking to what they said they were going to do.
And kind of to play off Kelly's point a little bit, I think even cities like New York, they left the subway open. So that's
still open. It's
still open?
Open right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's open
At
right
this
now.
point, if they're going to leave the subway open, why can't they let the businesses reopen? Because it's going to spread just as bad in the subway as any business they could let open. It'll be worse in the subway, if anything.
No, there are people that refuse to take a New York subway, and that's pre-COVID. With COVID, oh, no. Forget about it. Imagine I just said that with a New York accent. I can't pull it off. I'm very bad at impressions, but somebody say it. Anyway.
No.
I can kind of pull it off, but I feel like it would be insulting.
So
Okay.
New York's numbers have actually gone down, and I think that's a testament to them basically shutting everything down except for the subway. At this point, it's like you're only taking the subway to go to work. So I don't know. I'm not in New York. I don't really want to be in New York. But
He doesn't want to be in
it's
New
a
York.
decent place. But yeah, I'm not.
Why don't you want to be in New York? Huh?
But basically, people are just taking the subway to like get to work or whatever, and most places are still shut down. So I'm sure if they reopen, they'd probably see a big spike, which would that would be very bad. But I think they can. I think even in New York, they could probably start to open. Um,
I think they should start to open everywhere.
yeah, and like Kelly said, you know, definitely bigger cities are going to be more affected. So there shouldn't be a one size fits all thing. It should be counties,
Mhm.
more rural areas should get to decide what they want to do.
Yeah, and
Exactly, and that's why I'm in favor of the counties decide. It's like, states decide, now counties decide. I'm sorry, Nate.
in California, I think the governor like shut down the beaches and stuff, which the studies are showing that being outdoors and in the sunlight negatively affects the virus, meaning it spreads. It's harder to spread. Why would you close down as many beaches as possible, causing people to all go to the same beach and be in closer proximity of each other?
You've messed up when you have the LA liberals outside protesting. That's when you know you've messed up. When you've drawn the LA crowd out of their houses protesting, something must have gone wrong if you're a liberal governor.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be one of the big missteps that we look back and we're like, why do we close down parks and beaches and and like the skateboard parks? I've seen multiple places. First was like somewhere in California, and then there's some like small town in Texas that they like filled in the park, the skate park, whatever, with dirt.
somebody's
Like,
dad probably brought a tractor.
doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like just the fun police are out, so it does make sense. Like those aren't areas where you have like a lot of people getting together, so it's kind of silly.
Yeah, and we as conservatives are very fortunate, but I don't see how the Michigan governor gets reelected, how Cuomo gets reelected, or De Blasio. Now I'm starting to doubt that Newsom gets reelected. But then you doubt all these things, and then you realize, hold on, Pelosi gets reelected every 2 years, and these people live in California. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah, I mean that's like that. We don't like them, but they're in California and New York and wherever, so they're probably gonna get reelected, unfortunately.
Sadly.
Yeah, sadly. And here, people forget that in Texas and some of these states that are opening in the South, and even in the West, in the Midwest, give it about another month, it's going to be 100 degrees out here and more.
Oh, it was
Wait
in the
till
90s
July.
last weekend right here in Belton. Like
Today it was like 83, I think, and I live in DFW. So I mean, just give it another month.
For
This
those
virus will not
uninitiated,
survive.
DFW means Dallas Fort Worth because
Yes, Dallas Fort Worth.
They are in fact equals.
Yeah.
Fort Worth is actually a little better, but
I think
Yeah.
when it reaches up into like 100 degrees, people are going to be self quarantining anyways because nobody wants to go outside in 100-degree weather. It's
yeah, everyone's been at the pool at my building this week, so.
All right, guys, I'm gonna give a 30-second rant real quick. I promise it'll only be 30 seconds. If you're okay, you know what? I'm gonna make this a question. If you are quarantining yourself, let's say I'm married, right? And I'm quarantining because I'm scared, I'm nervous, whatever, the whole nine. Yet my spouse leaves for work every single day, and my kids go out and do stuff every single day, but I'm quarantining because I'm scared. And then they come back in after they've been exposed to the stores, to the people, to their coworkers, to all these things. And then they come back in, but I refuse to leave my house because I'm quarantined. Is there logic in that? Am I alone in this? Or because I have a personal, relation where there's this family and they're doing that. And I'm like your quarantine is completely pointless if you're being exposed either way. You might as well have already left your house at that point. Anyway, I don't know if y'all agree with me on that or not, but I
mean, yeah, it's if it's only one person doing it, yeah. But it does help that you have at least somebody doing it. But yeah, if you got like 4 out of 5 people in the family are leaving, then yeah, it's sort of defeats the purpose. But
I
yeah,
mean,
but it does
if
help.
you all go to the same place, yeah, I don't think it helps. But if that person were to, let's say, add additional places like, oh, let's go to the park today, or let's go to a different office, it could change things differently. But assuming they were to go to the same places, it's pretty much pointless.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, all right. Well, I've been ever since I heard that story, I was just like, these. And personally, we're starting to be able to reopen churches, which is a great thing. And that Greg Abbott, put
Is
in there
Planned Parenthood
May
still
3rd.
closed?
I don't want to talk about that. Excuse me. On May 3rd, churches can open. However, the social distancing is still in place. You can't have kids ministry 6 feet apart, all that stuff. So
I know
most
a lot
churches are
of
just waiting because it's just not worth it.
I know a lot of churches that at least have some kind of property are telling people, bring your lawn chairs. We're doing it outside in the sun.
Yeah, at my church, we're not going to do that because it is, they make it sound so easy, but to get a sound console outside and get
Oh
all that
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
going, and no, it's not worth it. It is
I'm
not worth it.
I'm completely with you on that. If it's too difficult, keep it online. But
Oh, and all ushers and volunteers have to have gloves and masks. If they're caught without it, you could potentially be fined based on your county. And so we just decided, you know what, we're gonna wait like another 30 days.
I can
It's
tell
just
you,
not worth
no cop in Bell County is going to want to go fine a church because we are what you would refer to as small town Texas,
There you go.
meaning pretty much everyone is at one church or another on Sundays. One of the many churches in the Bell County area.
The many, he said.
I
we love to hear it.
I went to
think-
like 10 Baptist churches before I found the one I like the best. Okay, and I didn't even hit all of them. So
you go to Baptist churches?
I'm technically non-denominational with Baptist leanings, so come fight me.
The undecided voter, the undecided Christian.
the left-leaning independent.
So
Yeah.
definitely not on that one. But no, at my at home in Fort Worth, I go to a non-denominational church. The church I found that best fits me here is a Baptist church. Well, Southern Baptist Church.
Which one do
I
you go
see that.
to?
I'm just messing with you.
What was that?
I said, which one do you go to?
Emmanuel Baptist Church in Temple.
Oh, I really like First Baptist Temple. That's where I
Yeah,
am.
that's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's like my second choice. Right behind that one is First Baptist Belton.
Oh, I don't like that one.
So
let's just talk about what
All
churches
right.
we like and hate.
Let's not throw any shade.
Let's wait for another. We can do a religion podcast and then go crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll go
first-
crazy with that another time. But for some backstory on that, Kelly and I used to go to the same school.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate took over Kelly's chapter at the Young Conservatives of Texas.
Took over.
I hear they do great work over there at YCT.
Yeah, they definitely do. Ethan, can you tell us a little bit about how great the work they do at YCT is?
Yeah, man, they give endorsements. They do campus activism.
They
It's a place of camaraderie with your fellow conservatives. You get a lot of networking opportunities. I should really contact them and see if I can join or something. See what I got to do.
I think
they have a great reputation.
Yeah, I think their website.
Have you seen their ratings that they give out?
YCT.org.
It's crazy. Yeah, YCT.org. Yeah. I got to go there and try to apply. Try to start a new chapter. Too bad I don't go to TCU or UTD because we need some chapters from there.
Yeah, we also need some at where else do we need chapters?
Yeah, we can save that for the YCT podcast.
If anyone's in Amarillo, we could definitely use an Amarillo, West Texas A&M chapter.
Do we have one at Hardin Simmons?
Also, yeah, if you're in Abilene.
If you're in Hardin Simmons, you get to join as a colony of the of the UMHB chapter because we have both Hardin and Baylor in our name. Thus, we are the colonizer.
All right. Okay. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand, though. Okay, so Texas is open. I can no longer file for unemployment. I mean, I can for the weeks previous, but once the claim week gets to May 1st, no more for me. How do y'all feel about this?
Can't relate.
I can't
I don't
suck on the
file for
government anymore.
unemployment. Yeah, Okay, liberal.
I'm just hoping the businesses can reopen soon so I can get back to work. I don't know if y'all know this, but supply chain places have gotten hit pretty bad recently because especially ones that specialize in food service, because the restaurants have been suffering. So,
Although it is case specific because some restaurants have to go. So
it is case specific, but at the same time, I think every restaurant was hit because they lost their dine-in business.
Yeah.
But supply chain companies have the wave is hitting supply chain companies now. I'd assume it might. I don't know if it would hit farmers or not. It's possible.
I heard the CEO
I'm not
of like Tyson Chicken said like the supply chain is breaking apart, falling apart. I feel like that's a little bit of an overreaction. I mean, it's definitely been hit, but yeah, it's definitely been hit. But I think to say it's falling apart, that's kind of an overreaction. So
yeah, I know a lot of places are I know a lot of places are having to lay people off right now. But most of them are just furloughing, and we're hoping to see the jobs all come back fairly soon. With Texas reopening, people want to go out to their favorite bars and restaurants. Let's reopen the state. Essentially,
there was Dr. Stephen Moore was on a call on a webinar with Leadership Institute. I don't know if y'all were on that, but
I can't recall if I was on there. Was I?
Oh, you were definitely on there. But but he was like he was talking about, so there are like 3 different types of recoveries: a U, a V, a L, and basically hopefully we get a V shape where it's a sharp. We've had the sharp decrease, and hopefully we get a sharp increase, a sharp recovery. And that can happen if we open up really quickly. I think it'll probably be more like a U shape where it's sort of slowly recovers, but that's really just it's really just mandated because of the government lockdowns and everything. You can't really have a sharp recovery while everything's closed. So
I will say, if we can take away a good thing out of this, it sounds like the governor is pushing to allow the alcohol delivery and drive-through stuff to continue in Texas.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
So
yes. Thank you, Lord Abbott, for graciously allowing us to be able to get alcohol to go. Wow.
Can't relate. Some of us don't drink. Anyway.
Yeah, most of everyone on this call that isn't under 21, everyone that's under 21 doesn't drink on this call, just for the record. We only drink when it's legal.
What if they lowered the tobacco age to 18? I mean, that would be...
Except for Ethan. Ethan does not drink
unbelievable.
Ever. Yeah, if they lowered the tobacco to 18...
Yeah.
I don't think they should do that.
Like it was like 2 years ago, or like earlier in 2019. I mean, no. Thank you, Abbott, for raising it to 21.
I don't know why we had to be first. Like we could have just waited until the U.S. did it as a whole.
Yeah.
And then no one in Texas would have been as mad as they were.
Yeah, they literally picked the worst time. It's like you could have just blamed it on the government.
They literally could have waited 2.5 months or something like that. And also, with the federal government, I feel like they should have followed the Texas plan, because at least the Texas plan was a gradual plan. So people that started smoking right after they turned 18 wouldn't be having what's it called, the
cold turkey.
Yeah, they wouldn't be having to quit cold turkey. They wouldn't be having to quit cold turkey. So the U.S., the federal government essentially forced everyone that was under 21 and smoked or vaped to quit cold turkey, which I feel sorry for them, honestly, because that's terrible. I'm
kind of okay with banning vaping just because it looks so cringe, but
Just because it looks so cringe.
Yeah.
Well, I personally think you shouldn't do anything that'll damage your brain if you're under 21. But let's talk about this in another podcast.
Yeah,
Did
so
y'all
right
see
there.
that?
We'll have to start a podcast called The Ethan Special, where Ethan just goes on a rant.
No. I do want to have a podcast where we talk about pot, vaping, the whole nine.
Anyway,
but
we should probably get on to our next topic now.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about let's see, Biden and the latest, stuff there, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the CDC just subtly changing the death toll. But yeah, and joining us now is gonna be Sebastian Quaid over there at the Hill Country Conservative.
So with us, we have Sebastian Quaid with the Hill Country Conservative and also the chairman of the Young Conservatives of Texas at Texas State. So Sebastian, do you want to give a quick intro and talk about what you do at your podcast?
So my name is Sebastian Quaid. I'm the chairman of the Young Conservatives of Texas at Texas State until next week, and then we're switching over to the new chairman. Basically, I started the Hill Country Conservative because I was not sure what was happening after college. I had taken my LSAT, was still waiting to hear back from a bunch of law schools. Thankfully, I heard back from a couple, and I'm going to South Texas College of Law in the fall. But yeah, I've always wanted to start my own podcast. I wanted something for conservative students. Similar, I think it would be similar to the Young Turks, but on the conservative side. But that's just me. You can find me at Real Sebastian Q on Twitter or HCCONS _ HCCons on Twitter and Instagram.
Nice. So Sebastian, what have you been up to? Well, besides the podcast, or I guess including it, but what have you been up to with all this coronavirus and stuff going on?
A whole lot of nothing, really.
Yeah.
I'm still in San Marcos, so I'm just breathing every day.
Yeah, this has probably been the quietest San Marcos has been in a long time, I would assume.
To be totally honest, it's not. We're still partying.
Of course.
He said we're still partying.
I haven't been to one of them. I mean, in all honesty, I've had a lot of homework that I needed. I'm graduating, so I'm just trying to get everything done. But no, the neighborhood that me and my girlfriend live in is just party central every night.
Great to hear.
All right, then, yeah. Great area you're in there.
I'm not in Lubbock, but Lubbock might be. I don't know. I haven't checked. But yeah, party schools never stop partying.
I heard the Roses I heard the Roses
Lubbock.
in Lubbock is a big party central right now.
That's a no-go zone. Yeah.
No-go zone.
Yeah. Nobody's going to Roses. Basically, the first person with coronavirus in Lubbock was a study abroad student. She came back, brought it here. I predicted the whole thing. I was like, don't bring the study abroad students back, but we did. Anyways, our topic is about Joe Biden and some of the sexual assault allegations. Well,
Creepy Joe, Sleepy Joe
going on. So I was kind of wondering what y'all's thoughts. Sebastian, start off with you. I don't know how you feel about what's been reported.
I think it's completely ridiculous. I always, even when Kavanaugh was accused, at first I said, let's hear her out and see if there's any evidence. They won't even do that now. And it's ridiculous. To do this, to say that you're, hashtag Me Too, pro women's rights and all that, fine, be that. I don't care. That's your life. You can live that. But be consistent. If you're going to say one thing, it's got to be the same thing for everybody. Just because, Joe Biden, and the evidence to me, Joe Biden has been this creepy guy, and we've seen the evidence time and time again, when he's sniffing kids and kissing kids and stuff like that. Come on. That's a dead giveaway, in my book at least.
So just to clarify, when you say it's ridiculous, you mean the way that it's being treated by the DNC and Joe Biden, or do you mean the accusation is ridiculous?
I think the way it's being treated in the media is ridiculous. Not talking about it, covering it up. I think I read something from what was it, Breitbart, where there was 8 accusers now, and I recently last week on my show, it was the first time I actually learned Tara Reade's name. Because nobody talks about it, and it's sickening to me.
But what we do know for sure is there's more evidence with this case than there is with the Kavanaugh case. and we saw how high profile that Kavanaugh case was. So, I mean, and you can find Joe Biden in numerous interviews where he's saying, I believe that we need to hear women and give them the benefit of the doubt. But you look at this, you lost me at the but. And this isn't years ago. This is like last week. This is like today.
Mhm.
Then he immediately says, but it's like, okay, you lost me. You totally just, it's like not, you know, I don't want to be offensive, but you know, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think it's a little ridiculous. Like the documents that would prove that she at least actually worked for him, he's not releasing.
Mm-hmm.
And to top it off, there's things like I forget what the name of the show was, but her mom went on the show, and the date. I mean,
Larry King show.
Larry King, and I mean, as I'm sure y'all know, they don't give the name, of course, in that situation, things like that. But the location where the call was from and the dates line up. So that's, I mean, it's fairly circumstantial at that point, but it lines up, which is more than what happened in the Kavanaugh case where we had conflicting stories, things not lining up. We have witness testimonies, or not witness testimonies. We have people corroborating her story that it's been the same since I believe it was 93 when it happened. But they've been saying she's been telling the same story since 1993. Details haven't changed. And it looks to me like Joe Biden is covering up by not releasing the files. If there was something that proved she didn't work for him, he would be releasing that immediately.
I just think, like, at the end of the day, people are just going to overlook it. I'm pretty sure everybody knows he's creepy. Like, I think that most people probably believe that he did it, but, like, Trump, on the other hand, he's been accused of that too, so, which I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that either way, people are just going to overlook it, and I don't think that it's going to be taken as seriously as it should be.
Did y'all see Trump's reaction when he was asked on it? I thought he had a great reaction to it. He essentially gave this would have been the perfect opportunity for Trump to just slam Biden right there on the news because they were asking him. But he essentially said that he thinks it needs to be played out and heard out before any accusations are considered, you know, which is it's a shame that they're not being heard out at least.
I agree. I agree with what Kelly's saying. It's sad to admit, but we are in a place where it'll be forgotten. But that's what's annoying is if it was the other way around. Oh no. And there's two things to take away from it. One, the Kavanaugh accusation was from somebody in high school or college who may or may not have known Kavanaugh. There were so many inconsistencies. In Biden's, you're talking about a senior staffer in your own workplace. You're talking about the credibility is completely different. And the other point with what Kelly said about Trump's accusations, look, we've all seen the grab her by the blank video. You know, I mean, Trump's not the best in that moral area. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you that. However, put being president to the side, he was already a celebrity, which just being a celebrity, you're going to get daily accusations. And then you're a billionaire. Triple, quadruple the accusations. Now throw in president. I'm not saying the accusations aren't valid. I'm just saying, of course he's getting accusations. The most innocent person is going to get accusations when you're that high profile.
Well, like I said on the Hill Country Conservative last week, nothing Trump's had, none of the accusations Trump's had brought to light are rape. It's sexual not misconduct, but sexual immorality. Sure, you know, cheating on your wife, that's a sexual immorality, but that wasn't rape.
Yeah, exactly. Big difference.
Yeah, and I believe this one would technically fall under sexual assault, not rape, based off of what she's said in her story.
I mean, it's still assault.
The sad thing is, if this turns out to be true, like you should totally drop out. But that's not going to happen.
No.
And it's sort of apples and oranges, but the media has covered up all of his sort of gaffes at this point. And I think we'll see a continuation of that. And they're going to continue to just ignore or cover up this. And it's sad because whenever it happens on the other side, it's all they talk about. But then when it happens to your candidate, you don't talk about it at all. And we've seen it from the media, and we've seen it from people in Biden's camp where they sweep it under the rug, or whatever the case.
Let me just make this point real quick and then ask a follow-up question to it once it's out in the air. I don't think that because why did they wait so many years? Why did Tara Reid wait so many years to make such an effort for this to come out? And I don't think it's a coincidence that Biden is, it's 2020, it's election year. However, if it was the Trump campaign trying to push it, I think they'd wait until right before the general election and then slam him.
I also think they would have had Trump respond differently as well.
Right, exactly. It's not strategic.
And on top of that, from what I heard, Tara Reid is trying to not go on Fox News, but I don't know if she has yet, but it was sounding like she would if it was her, last place that would hear her out, because she doesn't want to come off as a Trump person. I'm not sure how she falls politically, but it sounded to me like she wanted to. Is she?
I mean, yeah. She worked for Biden.
Yeah, but people's views can change throughout their lifetime, Ethan.
I mean, I guess. Anyway, but hold on. So I really want y'all's answer to this question. So now that we know, okay, it's most likely somebody from the left pushing this all of a sudden. Do y'all really think that Biden is going to be the one on the ballot in November? Or, I mean, should we just knock out the theory that when the Democratic convention comes, he'll be replaced? Should we just clarify that? I personally, it's 50-50 to me. I don't know.
What do you think?
What do y'all think? See, that's why it's 50-50. Because I'm like, I highly doubt they put Hillary in there, because everybody's just going to see Hillary and be like, oh God.
I don't think they would put Hillary.
And they said it was going to be Andrew Cuomo for the littlest bit, and then he went on Chris Cuomo's show and he's like, I don't want to be president. I never want to be president. It'd be a nightmare. I'd turn down the job if in a fantasy world it was offered to me. I'd turn it down. So Andrew Cuomo out the window. He clarified he didn't want to do it. So I'm like, well, who else? I mean, seriously.
I think it's gonna be Biden, but I can totally see why they would want to replace him. He's a bad candidate. Like, the only reason anybody is gonna vote for him is because they don't like Trump. And there's really no good reason to vote for Biden. He's not there mentally. I think big portions of the Democratic Party don't agree with him on policy. You see people that are really far left. Yeah, he's just not a good candidate. I could see them replacing him with anybody just about.
So what I feel like Biden, you're essentially voting for whoever his vice president is, and they're hoping to pull in some of that moderate area, the central area, to vote for Biden, because they want people to think, oh, Obama, things like that. They're trying to pull those center people, but then the kind of far left people will be like, oh, he has a literal socialist running as his running mate. Let's vote for this guy.
Exactly, because, I mean, it's not going to be Bernie. And, you go down the list. I don't think it'll be Pete Buttigieg. Doubt it'll be Elizabeth Warren. It won't be Kamala. It won't be Cory Booker. It won't be – who am I forgetting? There were so many of these people. It won't be Andrew Yang.
Oh,
it's
sure.
just all these people. It just won't – I know, but they got so really burned out.
A few of them. I think
Elizabeth
Warren –
He has said it will
Harris.
be a woman, so you can rule out all of the guys that you just mentioned. But
I think
but Elizabeth Warren.
I think if he was smart, it would be Warren. She was doing really well in the polls, especially with the younger generations.
Warren is a person of color too.
Oh yeah, she's got that going for her.
Yeah, I could see it being Warren just because she's a little bit to the left of him, so it would make sense to try to attract the people that you don't have.
Y'all don't think she has just as many gaffes though?
I think Warren Warren's been very. Her campaign was very tight, and her whole political career has been very consistent and tight. I don't agree with what she has to say, but she has done a very good job at staying consistent.
Well, okay, all right. I mean, like the stuff like the whole American Indian thing, the whole. I'm gonna go get a beer.
That was more than just
saying Bernie doesn't like women.
Yeah. That was more than a gaffe. That was like a total fabrication. From early on, that was like she went to what UT.
I thought it was U of H.
Or where? Maybe I think right. but wherever it was, and she said on her application that she was like American Indian, and so that wasn't just a gaffe. It was like that's a total screw up. That's like decades in the making.
Yeah.
Screw up that's
now,
not worth it.
Yeah.
But again, when she came out and publicly apologized, people loved her even more after that. Which just shows, the right can't win, and no matter what the left does, as long as they say, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, they conveniently forgot that was a big issue, and it's why every time Trump calls her Pocahontas, like they call Trump racist, but it's like, no, do you understand why he's calling her that? It's like she was the one that pretended to be Native Americans. Like,
I think this is
if
kind of
you're calling
why
someone racist, it's gonna be her.
I think this is kind of why we see people on the left being apologetic actually for misconduct, but we see often Republicans, even if it was like a little mistake, they might not apologize just because the left will take it so much farther for them compared to any Democrat.
I don't know. I would do whatever you have to do, but never apologize for anything, and never do anything that you're going to have to apologize for.
Yeah, I think that's a good view to take if and when you run for office, if you ever do, is to just try not to apologize for anything or have anything to apologize for.
Quaid 2036.
Yeah, don't give them any ammunition because they're going to take with it and run, which is what any political campaign does. But in this age, it's anything you post on social media is going to be scrutinized. So delete your timeline every so often. Delete all your tweets. So
I know some people that delete all their tweets all the time.
Yeah, every other day it seems like.
Yeah, but let's not get too deep into that one.
There's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do y'all think about how do you think this correlates to the CDC just suddenly? Let me get backstory first. The CDC, I wake up this morning and the death toll suddenly shrinked by 40%. I was like, what? They come back to life? What happened? And the CDC revised the numbers. So you might ask yourself, okay, what does this have to do with Biden? What does this have to do with this? But it's all, the CDC, sure, it's executive branch, etc. But a lot of the stuff that Trump's having to deal with, like Birx and Fauci and all these people, are Obama era. So how do you all think that this correlates with how the establishment looks when they just make changes like this, and then you have the sexual assault thing, and then you have all of these different things going on?
I think one of the things that I've seen is I forget what state it was, but they added like 3,000 people overnight to their death toll with no information backing it up at all. It's almost like they're saying, let's make our death toll look as bad as possible.
I think the government is just trying to use coronavirus to like take away our freedoms and stuff, because I think that I said it earlier, there's no reason that we should still be in lockdown, in my opinion, because it didn't end up being as bad as everybody thought. And I really think that a lot of this is just an excuse for the government to have an overreach. And I mean, that's not okay, but I think that that's part of what's going on.
I can sort of see, like, I think if we never had any sort of social distancing or anything, I think we would have seen it be obviously a lot worse. So things are pretty flat. The hospitals still have a ton of capacity. So I mean, it makes sense that, like, I definitely see the criticism, and I've made the criticism that we sort of overreacted. But with that said, it's like, okay, now we can go ahead and start opening up because we did all this, and because we've done a good job over the past month and a half. So I think we can go ahead and open up. But yeah, so I think we kind of did overreact, but because we put in place such strict measures, that's why we've done a good job. But then you see the obvious the impact is that millions are going on unemployment. We can't have that for very long. So yeah.
I think there's one good thing that did come out of this whole quarantine coronavirus thing, and that was expose all of the rhinos and nut job Republicans We had the what is it? 30 minutes from Austin, from where I am, but the protests in Austin, the Open Texas protests, the amount of people that went and were screaming this 5G network is causing coronavirus and all this just outlandish, ridiculous. I'm not going to say the word, but crap. Just really put in perspective how many people on the local level are just nuts and uneducated politically.
I'm not necessarily siding with them.
Look, those are
Okay,
our viewers.
there
Those
are-
are
there
our
are
viewers,
not-
so we can't insult them too much. But
Hold on,
just
I'm not
joking.
necessarily siding with them, but I will say it was, I think, Congress who recently, not too long ago, passed that any 5G companies that are running 5G in the United States, you have to be an American company controlling 5G. So any Chinese
That's just
technology we have,
that's just because
Chinese
China can
companies
see
that
the
are out.
data coming through that. Okay,
I
It has
understand that,
nothing
but
to
why
do-
are they doing it right now when there's coronavirus going on? It's not a. I mean, it is a. Oh my god! It's
I mean,
not a
they banned
coincidence. I'm
Huawei
saying.
months ago for this. Like, actually, probably about a year ago, they banned Huawei for this.
I think Huawei was actually banned several years ago.
It may have been longer. On top of that, I think it's only 5 countries that have 5G. And to top that off, even in the US, it's only available in major cities like Austin and Dallas. We have cases here in Bell County, the middle of nowhere. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no 5G here. You want to know why I know that? Because if there was 5G, I'd live close enough where I could get it. Okay. Like, there's no 5G.
Yeah, Nate gets into
Still
the
have
system.
cases.
Hang on, I've done.
But so I'm as some of y'all know, I'm a computer information systems major, so I like to be on the bleeding edge of everything, and I don't have coronavirus, so
I'm not on that boat that 5G causes corona. No. Don't mistake me. I'm just saying.
I'm saying we can't
People-
trust
people are
China
going-
to
Could
People are
cause
going
coronavirus.
nuts.
We
People are
haven't
going
ruled
nuts
out that it could.
because- Yeah, right. We're just saying
We don't know that
we
it
need more
can't
data.
cause-
We need more data at the end of the day.
For
Yeah,
those
but I
of
don't
you
think
who
it's- I don't
can't
think
see
it's-
my face, I'm very disappointed right now.
I was joking personally, but I feel like Ethan was not joking.
I don't know. You never know if I'm joking or not. You gotta know me to know, because sometimes I don't even know. Like right now, I couldn't tell you. Sometimes I just,
So
I just say things. That's why I started a podcast. I just say things. Now I need the context.
So I do think it's important that we kind of keep China out of our infrastructure as much as possible. That said, so I'm kind of for not having Huawei towers in the U.S. I don't want my data going to China.
So wait, hold on a second. So you're talking about enterprise, and you're talking about it's because of businesses, but now you're saying you don't want your data going to China. So
Yeah, that's why I use
so-
a VPN.
right, exactly. You shouldn't have to use a VPN. I mean, I think this
American
even if it was an
companies
American
spy on
company-
people
Right,
too.
that's what I'm saying.
why I
American
use
companies
VPN.
also spy on people, but at the end of the day, let's have the
Companies,
least
feel
number
free
of
to
people spying
contact
on
us
us
to
than
sponsor
necessary.
us.
yeah.
This segment was brought to
Now
you by
we need to plug
NordVPN.
ExpressVPN real quick.
No shout outs.
will cover all
No shout outs yet. They don't pay us yet.
Oh, you said yet. I love that.
Yeah, yet. You're welcome to contact us to sponsor us, ExpressVPN.
Yeah, I heard the Hill Country Conservative is going to sponsor us.
Is that so?
I'm not sure how much they're going to give us per view, but
When we start getting sponsors, I'll let you know.
oh
mean-
wow.
To be completely honest, the only reason we really exist is because Nate Dunning stayed up with me until 4 a.m. talking me through everything.
Yeah. I remember when the Hill Country Conservative was first starting, and Sebastian would send me messengers on Facebook just out of nowhere, like, "Hey, I heard you're starting a podcast." I'm like, first of all, why don't you just get my phone number? Second of all, we're in the same organization. We're all YCT members. We've been joking about this in the first segment, but
So-
obviously we're all YCT members. Like, you could have gotten my phone number so easily. And he's like, "So y'all just record Zoom calls?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "But do you use a mic?" Like, "Well, I have one on order." But so what platforms do you upload on? And I'm like, I put him in contact with Nate.
So when I first saw like the Hill Country Conservative social media, but I didn't know what it was. And then we started our podcast. I'm like, wait, it's a podcast. Oh crap! So it looks like we're copying. I honestly had no idea what y'all were doing. And but yeah, I've listened to a few episodes and I think y'all done a good job. Really
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should. I think STR
Highly
should own
recommend.
probably about 10% of the Hill Country Conservative. Since we started them off, we kind of got them in there. So if you're out there and you follow the Hill Country Conservative and you don't follow us, you should probably change that about yourself.
That's factual.
I've had this idea since I was a freshman and I took my first journalism class. And I am in all ways, except physical, I am a boomer. I took a Adobe class this
So is
semester,
Ethan.
and I had no idea what I was doing.
He sends voice memos.
Hey.
Voice memos are actually a good way to. It's a
great way to communicate.
A
great way to communicate. You save time. Yeah, anyway.
Save effort as well.
My teacher asked me to send him a zip file of some project on InDesign I was supposed to do, and I was like, first off, I don't know what a zip file is or how you make one.
What's a JPEG?
I learned this semester what a PNG was. So
are you serious?
That is a portable network graphic file.
We're getting there.
Oh, so it's a PNGF.
But so what is interesting about like we've seen, I feel like I've seen so many podcasts spring up in the middle of this coronavirus stuff, and it's like I think Leadership Institute has their podcast, and I don't know, I've seen like
also Leadership Institute, great organization. Shout out.
Very, very, very good.
Their webinars have been great. Love it.
You'll be seeing some.
If any of y'all want to come on, let us know.
But honestly, I think podcasts are really a nice way to kind of listen to what other people are talking about, and just a great way to kind of share your thoughts and ramblings and everything. So it's pretty cool to see lots of people starting podcasts.
Yeah, on Skylar's point, the whole reason why I wanted to start a podcast, and I called up Nate, Kelly, and Skylar, and I was like, y'all want to start a podcast? Because I kept in this lockdown, I don't have my YCT members on a daily basis. I mean, sure, I can call them, but it's not the same. And I talked to my mom about politics, but she works, and I have school. My dad doesn't care. My sister doesn't care. So I'm like, you know what? I got to talk to somebody about what's going on, and I need the right context. I need the right platform. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to put my thoughts out there, and I don't care if it gets 0 listens. I will be satisfied because I talked to somebody about it. And it's great that Skylar brought that point up, that you get to hear other views. I'm going to be straight honest. I do not agree with Joe Rogan on about 80% of 90% on what he stands by. But I've been listening to straight Joe Rogan for like 3 days. And it's just good. It's good to expose yourself to other views, to other alternative views. And podcasts are a great way to do it. You're cooking, you got it, you got it playing, whatever it is that you're doing, you got it in the background. And it's a very beneficial thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is y'all's favorite podcast? It sounds like yours might be Joe Rogan, but like, what's y'all's favorite podcast?
I honestly have no idea. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, to be totally honest.
I really don't either.
So I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I like, there are a few true crime podcasts I listen to. I like Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder. Joe Rogan has a pretty good show. Of course, Hill Country Conservative, great show. House Divided, another great show. Let me see. I actually
mine, a ton of them. Mine is kind of at a left field, but it's probably Pardon My Take. It's a great podcast. Like by Barstool Sports, there's a guy on it. He goes by PFT Commenter, which is Pro Football Talk Commenter. Anyway, he's just a hilarious guy. But yeah, they're really good, and I like Joe Rogan as well.
I go through these intense phases where like I listen to one person for like an extended period, like a certain period of time, and then it's like I just fade out and I no longer, I just listen to somebody else. I used to watch Tucker Carlson like religiously, like every single day, and then I got into podcasts and this was like my senior year of high school. I started listening to Ben Shapiro's show every single day, and then he became kind of a little much for me, a little too fast paced. I couldn't handle it.
And that's when you find Michael Knowles.
You're right, right, exactly.
Yes, I was about to say that.
So,
Knowles.
So then, with this quarantine, Steven Crowder started Mug Club Quarantine, where if you're not a Mug Club member, you still get to access the stuff. So I've listened to straight Steven Crowder for like 2 weeks, and I've been watching, like
Good Morning Mug
Club. Michael Knowles, Good Morning Mug Club, etc. I've been listening to the Hill Country Conservative, of course. A House Divided really is good. You know, we say A House Divided because last week we had Matt Lewis on, but honestly, I mean, I listened to a little bit of it.
It's an hour and a half, and I listened to the whole hour and a half. Okay, it's a great show.
I'm gonna be honest. I listened to about 45 minutes. Anyway, and with Joe Rogan, what
I'm
like
moving
is I
right
can
now,
listen to,
so I just listen straight.
I can listen to Joe Rogan and Steven Crowder at the same time. I can listen to Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro at the same time. I can listen to Joe Rogan and Candace Owens. I can keep going. That's what I like about it. And I mean, I don't know. And it's, you know, I'll probably be listening to Joe Rogan for about 2 more days, and that's it. Who knows?
I listened to his episode with Dr. Phil, and I forget what they were talking about, but it was really good.
Listen to that one. It's
yeah, it was.
Later.
I was like, I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, all right, Dr. Phil, Joe Rogan episode. So
I found myself at 4 a.m. last night
hours.
watching the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. You know, it starts and he's like,
it's like 3 hours.
The prophecy has come true. The prophecy has come true. You know, Alex Jones is in the studio.
I love that he brought him on for the 9/11 episode.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, and so I listened to that at like 4 a.m. last night. It's been all over the
Didn't
place.
he have Eddie Bravo on at the same time too?
Yeah, he always had. He's had Alex Jones on twice, and both times he had Eddie Bravo on.
I feel like they just play off each other so well because Eddie Bravo will just like lay into Alex and get him riled up.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you have to go watch it at this point. I mean, you can only explain so much. But anyway, but at the end of the day, the Biden assault, I mean, we'll see what happens. I give it another week and nobody's talking about it, but we'll see.
Sadly.
I don't know. I mean, and you know, we don't say that with joy.
It'll probably drag on. Like some people are going to keep talking about it, but I think by the mainstream, it's going to be largely ignored.
I hope people remember it when when we get closer or some kind of evidence comes out. Biden feels pressured into giving up those papers. So.
I will say that all these Bernie supporters, like, they're really mad about it. Like, the super leftist, like, college kids that I know, they're pissed off about it. But I don't think that many other people are.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do anything though, based off of our interview with that college Democrat. I don't know.
Yeah, that was
because they think the orange man is a rapist or whatever.
Orange man bad.
Yeah, orange man bad. Anyway, but yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up our time. You know, hey, to the listeners, stay tuned for more Wednesday editions. Y'all are really missing out on some great content with those editions. Feel free to go on our pages, all platforms pretty much, and you'll hear our pro-life abortion.
Yeah, if you click on the link in our bio on pretty much any social media, you can pretty much pick whatever platform you want to listen to us on.
Exactly. We have it all in one convenient place for you on our website. So that's great. Sebastian, you want to plug your social medias one more time? I know you did earlier. Hill Country Conservative. Honestly, you know, we're not just saying it to be nice. We recommend it. It's a good podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to say that I do listen to y'all's shows pretty religiously as well. I kind of missed that mark there when you asked me what my favorite podcast was. But yeah, the Hill Country Conservative. Follow us on Facebook. It's just The Hill Country Conservative. Twitter and Instagram is HCCONS _ HCCons. It's hosted by me, Sebastian Quaid, and my vice chairman, Christian Cavazos. Again, thank you, Nate and Ethan, for showing me how to do this, because next year when I move to Houston, this is going to be the way we're going to continue the show. So
there you go. We're going to start building some studios.
One day.
We're going to make our own Blaze TV. We're going to have our own platform.
Nah, we'll be the next YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, if YouTube finally gets kicked out of the country.
Or we don't censor people.
Yeah.
No censorship platform.
Well, thank you for coming on, Sebastian.
Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah, great to have you.
And, Thanks for joining us.
Thank you to the listeners for listening. Honestly, stay tuned for Wednesday edition. Stay tuned for, and you know, feel free to check our previous content and our future content. And this has been episode 5. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, share it. If you hated it, like, subscribe, and share it. Thanks for tuning in.